Do you have any regrets around bringing these cards to the game?
I'm going to keep doing it.
Would you want to play with Eric Persson again?
He just wanted to be a dick.
What's up, guys? We are here with the one and only, most recently popular for maybe some reasons he doesn't want to be popular, maybe some reasons he does, Mr. Dr. Batman from Hustler Casino live stream recently. What's up? How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for asking. How are you?
Good, good, good. So I think most people are going to be familiar with you, obviously, from the big hand that happened with Eric Persson recently on Hustler Casino Live. But before we get into that, I kind of want to just, get to know you a little bit and get to know, you know, how you got into poker, how you're able to play these very, very high stakes in poker, right? Like this was a 100, 200, 400 game. These are pretty big stakes that most people really don't even get to in their lifetime. So I'd love to hear kind of how you got started in poker and and just a little bit about your background before we get into the whole Hustler Casino Live stuff and everything.
Sure. I started playing poker back in 2015, 2014, somewhere around there. 50 cent $1 home game. One of my buddies, just hanging out with the friends. I remember being incredibly scared, buying in for $40, not knowing if that money was going to come home or not. And played very casually until the COVID happened. To tie into my background, I happened to be a nurse and I did a lot of stuff with COVID. Um, so as that kind of happened, things didn't really sit well on the nursing side. There's a lot of problems out there with how healthcare workers were treated during that time. And so I started playing more high stakes poker. Went from 1-3 to 2-5, 5-5-10. Became a PLO addict and just got invited to some of the higher stakes games and ended up loving it.
Okay, okay. So you were a nurse originally, and you said you were a paramedic. So you worked in this kind of field, and then you got into poker. You started low, you got to 510, etc. But then still going from 510 to like 100, 200, massive difference. So did you have something different? You had something else, right? I think you mentioned you were a business owner.
Yeah, so I have a small fencing company that I do new home fencing for here in Houston. But most of the money that is in my bankroll has come specifically from poker.
Okay. Okay. Wow. Okay. So you live in Houston, Texas, and you mainly go to the lodge, right? I think you were going to you've been on that live stream a couple times, you said.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed the first stream that I did out there on the lodge. I became pretty good friends with the people out there. That just it was such positive energy, even though it was much higher stakes. I found that my alignment with the players at those stakes was just a little bit more, and really enjoyed going out there. It's a great time every time. When I first got into like the 25-50 games, I got very fortunate in the beginning. I was a giant luck box, and luckily that was able to jump my bankroll up significantly enough for me to jump into a 1-2 game. I still did well for my first 1-2 games, and now I'm trying my hands at the 2-4 games. And yeah, no, everything has come straight from poker. My business is very small. I'm very good at it, and I enjoy it and looking to grow. But I am a very small business owner. I have a whopping 2 employees.
Oh, wow. Okay. So that, I mean, that is small business. I mean, because honestly, from my perspective, from most people's perspective, when you have someone sitting in a 100, 200 game and they're like talking to Eric Persson, like, bro, I'm a small business owner. We're like, well, what are you talking about? Like, you're playing 100, 200. Like, what? Like, how can you be a small business owner like playing this game? Like, what do you mean? But I mean, 2 employees is very small, but you can have a big, oh, very highly profitable company with only a couple employees, to say. So, I mean, it's not, I guess, too surprising, but I am a bit surprised that it's only two employees.
Of
Um,
course, I can almost guarantee you that I was the only non-millionaire at that table.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. That's a good segue into the game. So let's talk about the first night you played at Hustler Casino Live, and then we'll get into the second night. So the first night you played, in my video, I showed several different hands where you played first person, Eric Persson, and you won. There's a lot of big hands that you won. Tell me how it went the first night.
Very well. I crushed their souls. I was on a heater and just it did not cool down. We played for a little while off stream as well, and I did very, very well.
Okay, okay. And it all seemed like a fun game. So with the cards, I'd love for you to tell me how you thought of the cards, how you thought to implement these needle cards or like bad beat cards, whatever you want to call them. How did you think to bring them to the game?
So I was playing on a stream at the lodge and kind of broke even towards the end of the stream. And then we kept playing. And I got into a really big hand where I had a flush and I got absolutely demolished by a straight flush. And I just never, ever, ever see those coming. So was feeling a little defeated and ended up going to CVS to grab some Gatorade or something, and I ended up seeing a rack of sympathy cards. And as I was just looking at them, I saw one, and it said, "It's okay to not be okay." And when I saw that, I just kind of laughed, and it made me feel a little bit better. And I just got the idea, maybe that would be something fun that we could do for bad beats at the table. So I bought some cards, went to my hotel, and just wrote some funny notes on the inside of them and brought them to the stream the next day. And I explained it to everyone. So there's a big misunderstanding right now. It's not that I have these cards just to needle people when I lose a big pot or get sucked out on or bluff off, whatever. It's any hand at the table. And the whole point of the card is just kind of to bring a little bit of comedy and levity to a situation, because a lot of these games will tighten up after a really big cooler. But if you have these cards and you turn it into a laughable event, it kind of keeps the action going and it keeps a little bit more fun in the game. I always explain before the stream what the cards are, and I ask everyone for their permission. It's like, hey, if you don't enjoy the needling or the back and forth good fun, don't take a card. I'm going to offer a card, but don't take a card if that's not something that you want to do. And because I wasn't there the whole stream for the second one, I asked Ben at the table, it's like, are you okay with needling? And when he said, yeah, needling is perfectly okay, I offered him a card. And his initial reaction, as far as I could tell, was positive. I saw him smiling and kind of chuckling to himself. And that very well may have been, a little bit of frustration as well. But the table seemed to enjoy it. And I just didn't see that it was that big of a deal at the time.
Okay, so did you have the cards in the first stream?
Yeah,
You did, and did you use them at all in the first stream?
I did. I have an autographed card that I gave to Patrik Antonius. While we were there, he autographed one, thought it was fun, and gave it back to me, which was so very cool of him. I really appreciate it. I'm definitely gonna frame that thing. He's a hero of mine. I've been watching him for probably 15 years.
Yeah, for sure. So did you use it in a hand, like after you played a hand with him, you gave him one and then he autographed it? Is that how it worked?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So was that on? I don't think that one was it on stream. Do you know? I don't.
It kind of blurs together. For the at home audience, when the stream ends, the
I was
action
I, it might have been off stream, right?
It very well could be, but I don't think so. It was he autographed it off stream, but he got the card on stream.
Okay, I'll have to go back and look for that clip and maybe I'll add it into this video and show it right here.
Yeah,
um,
it's when I had ace deuce and check raised on the river with a straight.
okay, I'll look for that.
I think that's Patrik Antonius' version of tilt.
Yeah, the other side of it. Okay.
Just makes a slightly loose call
Thank you.
while remaining a total gentleman.
So what? This is me from the previous one.
Yes,
From the previous one. Okay,
Only if
okay.
you want it, man. Only if you want it. That's a huge pot. I know that you're way richer than
I'll
me,
take it.
but
I'll take that.
800 is ours.
You gotta read it aloud, Patrick.
if it's not funny enough, let me know. I'll make you another one.
How cool is this dude?
1800.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you cool.
Started off hot, enjoyed a nice meal.
Guess
Good. You want me to sign it for you?
Dude, honestly,
Okay, I'll sign it.
I would fucking love that.
Okay, I'll sign it.
That we couldn't see.
There in the river, hey.
Look at this guy signing this note. So what happens is when MrDrBatman beats you in a big pot, he gives you a note which pretty much says, don't worry about being an idiot. There's a lot of idiots out there. And after Patrik Antonius loses a 300K
You can
pot
read it to them.
Yeah?
and then gets runner
I'll take the pen.
by this guy.
Nice check raise on the river with ace deuce.
No, but you can read the card. What it says.
Oh,
Yeah.
I said with time, all wounds will heal, but all the time in the world will make you a winning poker player. Probably the worst person to say it to. However, comma, I stand by my sarcastic note. Can I have the envelope by any chance?
No.
Appreciate you, bud. Also, dude, I respect the time, energy, and love you put into this game. Really, really, I do. But I want to take the rest of your money.
1100.
Okay, interesting. So you brought him, you used him in the first stream. Second stream is kind of where things went off the wall, right? You had him there the entire time, and the first time you used it really was with the hand where you cracked Ben's aces, right?
Correct.
Okay. Some people are saying you giving a card out or just asking about giving a card out in general is kind of a needle in itself. What is your kind of response to that?
I can understand that point of view. However, my point of view is I do ask permission, and I also you can pull the clip. I said open it at your leisure. Like you don't have to open it now. So even if he's just being polite and taking the card, I'm not saying read it now or anything like that. It's genuinely all in good fun. And I want to make it very, very clear that there's no angling there or bullying. I mean, I can't chip bully anyone in these types of games. So there's no different angle. It's like I go there to have a great time. And I find that the atmosphere is a lot better when coolers like that happen if there's something fun for the table to do to move forward. I don't know how much time you have to search, but one of the big things that Eric was, talking to me about was that, well, you didn't open up your own card. If he hadn't been so aggressive and confrontational, I would have. I've done it. I took a bad beat at the lodge. I can't remember if someone bluffed me or what the exact circumstance was, but I opened up one of my own cards that I wrote and read it out loud to the table. So I'm a good sport on the back end of it as well. I just immediately felt attacked, and it was hard for me to stay. What's the word I'm looking for? Just pleasant in that moment, or jovial, or humorous.
Right.
The money didn't bother me. I had a read. It was a terrible read, but if you don't follow your reads, what are you doing in poker? So it was probably a very, very, well, not probably, it was a very, very bad poker decision. But I could have laughed about it if I hadn't literally just been jumped on.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that perspective. I mean, at the time, I did notice a couple players at the table. I think even like MJ was like, whoa, man, like, calm down a bit, right? There was definitely a bit of a rivalry the first night where it seems that you got the best of Eric Persson. Do you think that had anything to do with maybe Eric's feeling towards you bringing these cards to the game and you getting stacked by him and how he reacted? Do you think that had anything to do with the situation?
It's hard to say for sure, but if my measly little $300,000, or I didn't even take that from him. I think maybe I got the best of him like 110, 115, something like that the day before. If my 115 against him really hurt him enough that he was that tilted against me, then maybe he shouldn't be playing at these stakes, because I make way less money than he does, and I've lost that kind of money and not been that way to people. So I can't say for sure, but maybe.
Okay. Do you have any regrets around bringing these cards to the game or anything around the whole situation that kind of caused, kind of this chaos?
No, I regret very badly that hand. But in terms of the cards, I'm going to keep doing it. I've had people ask for cards and ask me to make them some, and for the most part, the people that have reached out to me have been very positive. And the few friends that I have that didn't see it the way that I see it still thought that reaction was completely out of hand. And so long as I asked permission, I mean, they're cool with it. It's just easy enough to say no.
Okay, interesting. So there has been a lot of people who have said, "Oh, I bet he's no longer going to be doing that after that reaction and bringing these cards and blah blah blah." Right? So like, it's interesting. So you are going to continue doing it.
No, absolutely. I enjoy it. It's still an experiment because I've only done it on 4 or 5 different streams. So if I continue to get feedback that it's not well received, of course I'll stop. But the vast majority of the feedback that I get on and off the felt is very positive.
Okay. Yeah, I mean it's interesting because obviously, I mean these are like it is like a TV show. Like these streams are like TV shows, right? Like that you go on and you're trying to these TV shows are always trying to be more interesting and I mean I can definitely see like something like these bad beat cards being very popular maybe on like the Monday game that Hustler does where it's like it's supposed to be like
Max Payne.
yeah, Max Payne. It's supposed to be, slow rolls and everything. So I could see them fitting in very well there. Maybe in more serious games, it's less well taken. I guess games with person, obviously, not so well taken. Interesting that you're going to keep doing it. Do you plan on going back to Hustler Casino Live anytime in the future?
Yeah, I gotta win my $300,000 back, Alex.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Would you want to play with Eric Persson again, or just stay away from games with him?
You know, that's a mixed bag. Of course, if Eric wanted to play, I'd be more than happy to play with him. But I definitely will not be offering him another card. That's for sure.
Okay, okay, yeah. I 100% agree. Batman prepared those cards to put people on tilt. Person was a bit aggressive with it, but I think Batman deserved it. So a lot of people think that you just deserved it because these cards are inherently designed to put people on tilt.
Look at it this way. So if these people are poker players and they've had games where they're playing with their friends and you get a good bluff through, you're gonna talk a little shit, right? Because you're there with your friends, you do it normally throughout your friendship conversation and stuff like that. I'm bringing a permission friendly version of that to other games, right? I don't know those people well enough to have that banter back and forth, but if I ask their permission and say, "Hey, like, do you want to have this banter back and forth?" It brings that more familiarity and comfortability to the table. If they see it as needling, it absolutely is, but it absolutely is not angling. If I wanted to angle someone, there's much more effective ways than asking someone's permission to give them a card that you took your time to handwrite so that they, there's effort and energy put into it. It's much easier to tilt someone with slow rolling, shit talking, random bluffing, whatever. Like I can't imagine that this is the most effective way to needle or get someone on tilt. I can think of much easier ways to do that. If he had been pleasant and said, "Well, John, you know what time it is. It's time for medicine. You got to take one of your own cards, man." Like if he had been pleasant about it, then I would have been absolutely happy to do that.
Right, right.
There's a big difference between ribbing between friends and verbally accosting someone. And it definitely was the second part. Like he was not trying to be pleasant. He was not trying to be fun or entertaining. He was literally trying to just express his heartfelt frustration and disapproval of what I was doing. And that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. He and I don't have a problem. We talked off stream and, he talked me through whatever and we squashed it. But if he had done that in a way that wasn't like incredibly derogatory and hostile, it could have been just fine. Like I can take getting smacked around with the best of them. That wasn't the issue. It was just I went from trying to have a nice, pleasant game with friends to just being blasted at the table, and that was completely out of line. I understand if people disagree and they see as what I'm doing is trying needling or angling, but that's not the case at all. If that was the case, then I would only give cards out to people when it was with me, and I wouldn't ask permission. I would just toss the cards. I don't need anyone's permission to hand them a card. I don't need anyone's permission to pull a card out and read it to them. I could write a whole sonnet of needles and jabs, and if that was my intent, that would be far more effective than trying to have a positive experience out of it. And again, I always ask permission. If you don't want the card, you don't have to take the card. It's that simple.
Okay, Eric Persson has my respect for all the times Phil Hellmuth has berated and ridiculed poker players. For all the times Hellmuth used his poker entitlement to get his privileges, Persson was one of the few players that gave it back to Hellmuth and taught him a lesson like he did to MrDrBatman. Thanks, Eric. So yeah, a lot of people think that Persson, they love him because he kind of taught this guy, MrDrBatman, a lesson. If he's going to bring these needle cards to the game and try to like needle people, then he deserves kind of getting Eric Persson's reaction. This was just the reaction, I think, to most people, the comments from my video, the comments from Hustler Casino Live's videos. What do you have to say?
All of the comments, Alex. All of the comments.
Yeah, I mean, all of the comments. Like, there's very few people that I've seen that have said, oh, he's just doing it for fun. Like Dr. Batman, like this guy Batman is just doing it for fun, right? Like very few people have said this. So how do you really try to change people's minds there?
I first off, I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. Everyone's entitled to their opinion and you can have it. But I think that there was just a lot of misunderstanding, because if the only time I gave out those cards was when I bad beated someone or bluffed someone or did something like that, that's a whole different context. And to back up for a second, I saw the heads up match with Phil and Eric, and I agreed. I really enjoyed watching Eric tear into Phil, but I am not Phil Hellmuth. I've never talked to anyone the way that Phil Hellmuth talks to people. He is incredibly destructive and dismissive of people. And I mean, he thinks he's one of the best poker players of all time, and he probably is, but he definitely talks a lot of shit when he gets sucked out on, and it's not polite. It's very, very aggressive. And so I see it this way, and I think that some people see it this way too. He just acted like Phil Hellmuth, like absolutely the person that he was berating and talking shit about. He did the same damn thing. I saw an episode of High Stakes where oh God, what's his name? Tony G.
Tony G.
Right? Tony G, was basically tearing into Phil Hellmuth, saying, like, he's a millionaire, he's made it, this is a small business guy, like, why are you doing this to him? Like, this is more money than he'll ever see, something like that. I mean, that pot to me would be huge. And for him to know that, because they advertise who we are, what our backgrounds are, and stuff like that. So he knows that's a huge pot for me, and it's not a huge pot for him. So not only did he not have any sympathy there whatsoever, he just wanted to be a dick. And I mean, like I said, that's his right. I'm not going to sit here and say that he can't do that. I'm just saying it was poor etiquette, and I don't see that my etiquette violation, if you see it that way, comes anywhere close to what he did. Like, there was no kindness or friendliness. Let's just say that there's no friendliness whatsoever in what he was doing. And the whole intent of mine is to bring a friendly aspect to a game of people that I don't know.
I mean, is there going to be anything different that you do in the future that maybe you try to gain a better reputation from this? Or do you think people will maybe just try to understand? I mean, I'm just trying to get your overall reaction to kind of how people have taken this.
I mean, it's the internet. People love drama. People love to be on the side of whatever. That's not, I'm not trying to change anyone's mind. I don't care. But just the information out there was wrong. That's it. That's all I'm trying to do. Like, it's not exactly how it played out, and I'm absolutely going to continue to do it. And here's the thing: if y'all think that I'm an a-hole or some angle shooting poker player, come to Houston. You'll find me at some of the poker rooms. We'll sit down, we'll play, and you'll see that I'm a great guy.
I don't think I've seen really anyone say anything about angles, because angles is, you trying to like win a hand because of like you doing something like bad or whatever, right? It's mainly the the needling, right? So
Well, yeah, but if you're intentionally trying to get someone on sale, I see that more as an angle than anything else. And again, this is the most polite and courteous way to do that if that was indeed my goal. I would much rather just start insulting someone if I'm trying to get them on tilt or say some absolutely crazy random shit just to absolutely blow their top.
okay. Another interesting question. How did you get the name Batman? Why is your name Mr. Batman? I mean, the doctor part makes sense, I guess, because you said you were a nurse and
Had
then
nothing to do with it. Had nothing to do with
nothing to
it.
do with it. Okay.
No. So I worked medical for a big art festival out in Austin, and there was this guy who ended up hitchhiking from God knows where all the way out to Austin so that he could continue to stalk his ex-girlfriend. And one of my medics just happened to be out there when they found the guy, and so they brought them back to our medical station. So this is an art and music festival, so there was a camp that was just handing out like random costumes, and purely by happenstance I was in a Batman onesie with a really cheap like lab coat looking thing. So they call me to come deal with this guy because he was starting to get irate and they were just kind of waiting for the cops to get there. So I roll into a room full of my peers, and this guy's just, again, he's just being a complete dick. So he keeps asking for my name, and I was like, "You don't need to know my name. All you need to know is that you need to sit here and behave yourself." And he just keeps on going, just keeps on going. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? And at that point, it's going in one ear and out the other, not paying attention to him. And so as time goes on, he is getting very frustrated because he knows he's about to go to jail. And he goes, Mr. Dr. Batman. And that was it. Like I took him outside when the cops got there. I come back inside and everyone's like, "Great job, Mr. Dr. Batman." And it never left. It never left.
Wow. Okay. So you had this costume on, and then just so happens that this angry guy gave you this nickname. That's
Yeah.
that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, cool. So you're planning to play more poker. You want to get more into maybe the social media world. You want to stay in the poker community. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. I really have doubled down on poker. I do my small business in order to provide for my family if anything was to happen to me, but I am incredibly passionate about poker. I have a very different play style. I am not a GTO player. I will never be a GTO player. But so long as I continue to be a winning player, I'm going to keep playing at these stakes.
Okay, cool. And then I guess I just want to change topics a bit. What did you think? I know you're probably familiar with it, and this is going to be in the news for a while. What did you think of the Hustler Casino Live cheating scandal with Garrett and Robbie? Do you think Robbie cheated? Do you think Garrett is crazy? Do you think she could have cheated? What is your overall opinion about it?
So I'm smart enough to know to not give a 100% opinion on this because all of the facts aren't out. But I will say that there is no chance whatsoever. Okay, let's say this. She was staked at that game by a player at the game. If that wasn't voiced to all the players immediately, she's cheating. That's colluding. Period. End of story. There's no way around that. Did she hire someone to feed her the card info? I feel like that's a bit of a stretch, but so I'm a rec player just like she is. There's not a chance in hell that a rec player is going to make that call. There's no way. All of the draws that she could have had would be beat, or all the draws that, let's say she put Garrett on a pure draw, the draws would beat her hand. There's just no way that that call was on the up and up, right? I think that if it was cheating, it was far more likely that someone had seen Garrett's cards or was giving her tells or something along those lines. Or maybe she's just trolling the world and she's actually an amazing poker player with Daniel Negreanu hand reading skills. But that's not the opinion that I have after watching her play, and I've watched all of her streams. I can't imagine anyone staking a player like that. If she was in there with her own money, cool, whatever, different conversation. But who in the hell is going to stake a player that would even make that call or do what she did? That just doesn't make any sense to me. So there's something very fishy going on there.
Right, right. That makes sense. Yeah. Interesting situation. I guess we'll see what else develops from it. Who knows if something will come from this. But
I think that we're gonna have a resolution one way or the other in the next couple weeks.
Did you see the video that he did?
The one that was on Instagram?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I have not seen it, but it has been sent to me many, many times.
Oh, it's been sent to you, but you haven't watched it?
No.
Oh, do you want to watch it?
Do I want to? No, but sure, I will watch it, and y'all can get my live reaction to it.
Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. I just gotta find it. All right, let's listen to what Eric Persson has to say after the stream.
So some context here. I'm on the other. So they're in the VIP cage, and I'm on the other side of the door right now, waiting for me to cash out.
Oh, really?
I didn't know. I didn't know what they were doing until Ryan came out and told me that he had just done an interview with them.
Oh, wow. I actually don't. I think he might have done 2 interviews. This might not even be the one where he talks about you. This might even be just the one where he talks about playing, but let's find out. I don't really remember.
Eric Persson, the star of the last 2 days. How do you think you did?
I mean, I'm super happy with obviously the way everything went today, and tomorrow or yesterday was a much different game, but overall I'm very pleased. It's always fun to come here and mix it up.
Tell us about that 630K pot that you won at the end.
Well, it's one of those things. I'm up against a pair of queens. I obviously flopped 2 pair, and when I turned that 10, gave me a full house, and then on the river cards another heart, where basically makes every single draw in hand. It was just all about how am I going to maximize this and figure out how do I induce him to put in all the money. I mean, I think a lot of people, when they really pay attention, when he bets 50 on the turn, I reach out and pay the hem and haw, and then I pay 10,000 with the $500 chips before I pay the other 40 with the chocolates. And I think that all my actions combined, plus my 130 river bet, which when he had 240, just made him feel like I gave him a reason to think I was bluffing. He obviously reshoves with a hand that really has no value. It's a pair of queens. And he stacks himself, which you can see the benefits of that right here.
Do you think what he's saying has any truth to what you're... I mean, Eric Persson's obviously a very tough live player. Do you think him betting with, the smaller chips or doing these certain things caused you to maybe do something that you didn't mean to, like jam when you shouldn't have, etc.? Like, do you think any of that happened?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I played a lot of poker with him the day before, a lot of poker, and I saw him make some really sick bluff attempts, and he plays his bluff attempts the same way that he plays the nuts, and so it's really hard to get a read on him. And I really, really thought that he had a weak ace and was trying to make it look like he had made his hand on the river, and I just didn't believe him. And so because I didn't believe him, like his storyline didn't make sense to me, because I put him on a weak ace just pre-flop, and when the weak ace came and the turn came and he kind of hesitated a lot more, I mean, he played that hand very, very well, and I played it very, very badly.
Okay, yeah.
A lot of money at one point, over 200K, and you kept your composure. How were you able to do that and end up winning for the night?
Because I don't think 200K is a lot of money.
I do, Eric. I think 200K is a lot of money.
Let's see what Eric Persson had to say the night before the second stream. And he definitely mentioned you in this video. So let's see. And people are saying this is kind of where he called his shot. So let's see what he says.
I try to only play with people I like, and I like DJ, and MrDrBatman, like, come on. Whatever. Like, at the end of the day, he's going broke. Like, he's never going to make it. I'm saying on the record, and he can do whatever he wants, and he can try to prove me wrong, and that's what's great about poker. It's egalitarian. It doesn't care if you're black, white, woman, man. If you win, you win. He can prove me wrong, but I just don't think he will. And it's fine that I don't mind sitting with him. I don't really mind his shenanigans.
So Eric Persson said before the stream that you were going broke. I don't know. What's your thoughts on this video?
I think that he was very tilted at that point, and other than that one bad call, I mean, and I still won at the game, so I think he's very incorrect.
All right, Mr. Dr. Batman. It was fun talking to you about this entire situation. Any final words for the poker fans out there, poker fans of Batman and kind of just, you know, the future of what you're going to be doing in poker? Any final words?
I'm very fortunate to play at the stakes that I do, and I can tell all those recreational players out there that if you practice and you do your own strategy, you do your own thing, that maybe one day you can be here like me too.
Okay, awesome.
And the cards are not gonna fucking leave. Like they're just never fucking going anywhere.
All right, you heard it here first, guys. The cards are not going anywhere. So we should see more of those. And you mentioned you are going to be playing again with Eric Persson. Is that right?
Definitely. I'm going to be playing with him sometime here in the next couple weeks.
Okay, so that should be interesting. And that's going to be on a different stream that's not Hustler or Lodge.
Correct.
Okay, okay. We won't promote them too hard because they like to copyright all of the content we try to use. So we won't promote them too hard. But interesting. That should be cool when that comes out. Appreciate your time. We'll see kind of what the future holds for you and the cards.
Well, I'll put this open invitation out there, right? I just started an Instagram. There's not much on it, but if you follow me and you're in Houston, shoot me a DM. I'll be more than happy to come play with you and show you that I'm a great guy.
I like it. I like it. And I do know your Instagram. You need at least a profile picture. You need to put some pictures on there. You need to up it. So
I gotta step up my social media game.
Yeah, you're going to. And you'll put some I'll put your Instagram in the description and people can follow you. I think you definitely have a future in poker. And you seem like a good guy. You know, we'll see what the future holds for Mr. Dr. Batman.
I appreciate the time, Alex. Thanks.